Hey, welcome back. Last time when we left off, I had asked you to answer these questions on your own. Before we do that, there's a couple of videos I wanted to take a look at. This first one is on non-renewable resources. We're going to take a look at some of the non-renewable energies. Non means not. So these are energies that will not come back once we use them. They're gone forever.
There are many sources of the energy we use every day. These sources of energy fall into two groups called non-renewable and renewable resources. Most of the energy used in the United States comes from non-renewable resources. These resources are called non-renewable because once they are used, they cannot be replaced. Coal, petroleum, natural gas, propane, and uranium all take millions of years to form. Their supply is limited and eventually they will run out. Coal, natural gas, petroleum, and propane are referred to as fossil fuels because they have formed over the millions of years since prehistoric times. These resources formed from the tiny plants and animals that lived before the dinosaurs. These plants and animals got their energy from the sun.
So the energy in the fossil fuels originally came from the sun and was stored during photosynthesis. And then as these plants decomposed and they were in the earth and they became fossils, the energy from the sun is still in them. So when we burn them today, we're releasing energy that came from the sun millions of years ago.
When they died, they sank to the bottom of swamps and oceans. Then, over millions of years, water and dirt piled up on these plants and animals. The pressure caused chemical and physical changes that transformed these decayed plants and animals into fossil fuels, which have become so important to our life. However, once the supply of fossil fuels is used up, it will be gone forever. Here is a chart that shows energy consumption by source in the United States. Giant machines are used to remove coal from the ground. There are two methods for mining coal. Surface mining is currently the most widely used method. This method can be used when the coal is a few hundred feet below the surface. Giant machines are used to scrape the topsoil and dirt away, and then the coal can be mined on the surface.
Now, you notice that as they do this surface mining, everything that was here in the ecosystem is gone. So this has a lot of environmental impacts when you surface mine for coal.
On the surface. Underground mining is necessary when the coal vein is deep underground. In this situation, people and machines are transported underground to remove the coal. 91% of the coal mined in the United States is used to produce electricity at power plants. Coal is also used in the manufacture of paper, cement, and bricks. Our coal reserve should last for the next 300 years at the current level of use. Before any coal is mined from an area, the coal company plans with the local community and other interested parties how to reclaim the land. Coal companies make a great effort to treat the land in an environmentally proper fashion. Sometimes coal contains sulfur, which is released when the coal is burned, and this sulfur combines with oxygen to make acid rain.
It makes sulfuric acid, so it combines with the oxygen in the atmosphere.
Acid rain can harm trees and other living things, so coal companies try to locate sources of coal that are low in sulfur. They also remove sulfur from the coal they mine. Power plants have installed scrubbers in their smokestacks to remove the sulfur before it can get into the air. Natural gas is the cleanest burning fossil fuel. Natural gas is used mainly for heating.
When he says it's the cleanest form, I mean, think about it. In this home, they're burning the natural gas inside without special ventilation. If you did that with gasoline or any of the other fossil fuels, you would end up, having enough fumes in the air that you would have enough fumes in the air that eventually you would kill yourself. I mean, you would suffocate because it would use up all the oxygen in places of carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide, and you wouldn't have any oxygen to breathe.
It is used primarily by industries as a fuel for heating and the manufacture of products. It is also an ingredient in products such as glue, fertilizer, and paint. Natural gas, like other fossil fuels, was formed millions of years ago from dead plants and animals. Natural gas is found trapped in underground rock pockets. It is considered a non-renewable resource, though some natural gas is generated and can be collected at landfills as garbage breaks down. The main gas associated with natural gas is methane, which is colorless and odorless. Natural gas companies add the odor of rotten eggs to natural gas so that if there is a leak, people can tell there's a problem. 60% of homes use natural gas for heating. It is estimated that the United States has about 50 years of natural gas left. Petroleum is often referred to as oil or crude oil. It is a fossil fuel and is a very valuable energy resource. Petroleum is primarily used as fuel for vehicles used for transportation. To bring petroleum to the surface of the earth, oil companies drill deep wells. 1/4 of the Earth's petroleum reserves are from offshore wells located in oceans. Most wells are about a mile or 1.6 kilometers deep. The oil that comes out of the ground must be cleaned up. It is sent to a refinery where it is separated into many fuels.
And that process is called fractional distillation. So they boil the oil until it evaporates, and then they condense the fumes to purify it.
Such as gasoline, diesel fuel, jet fuel, and heating oil. Propane is a gas that can be found with natural gas and petroleum deposits. Propane is a very clean gas. In fact, it is used as the fuel in forklifts that must work inside warehouses. This fuel doesn't give off harmful or deadly fumes, so it can be used inside this closed area. Propane is also used by homeowners to power barbecues, and in rural areas, it is often used as the fuel to heat homes.
And then the second one is some of the problems that we have with dependency on using fossil fuels.
Fossil fuels are non-renewable. One major problem with our dependence on fossil fuels has to do with the fact that as non-renewable resources, they will disappear. There is a limit to these fuels, and they will run out. Another problem is associated with the burning of fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are polluting to our atmosphere. When fossil fuels are burned, gases and chemicals are released that can harm the atmosphere. The atmosphere is made up of a variety of gases, including oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide. It is the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that acts like a blanket, helping to keep the Earth warm by trapping radiant energy from the sun. Radiant energy travels through the atmosphere, strikes the surface of the planet, and some of this energy is reflected back towards space. The carbon dioxide in the atmosphere helps to reflect some of this heat energy back to keep the planet at the right temperature to maintain life. However, when too much carbon dioxide gets into the atmosphere, the blanketing effect is increased, causing too much radiant energy to be trapped. This is called the greenhouse effect. You have probably walked through a greenhouse at one time or another and thought the temperatures were much higher than those outside the greenhouse. If we take 2 fish bowls outside and fill the bottoms with sand and then set them in the sunlight for a while, we can perform an experiment. Put a thermometer in each bowl and wait about a minute before taking its temperature. Then, place a sheet of glass on top of one of the bowls and wait about 15 minutes. Then compare the temperatures again. The bowl with the glass on top is helping to capture some of the radiant energy in the same fashion as the carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. So, as cars, trucks, factories, and power plants release more and more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, this contributes to a buildup of greenhouse gases and increases the greenhouse effect. Another issue related to the use of fossil fuels is referred to as global warming. As the greenhouse effect has more and more of an effect on the atmosphere, the planet becomes warmer and warmer. Some scientists believe that this global warming could have far-reaching effects for the entire planet. Farm areas may become too dry to produce plants. Chemicals released from factories, power plants, and automobile exhausts also combine with water vapor in the air to create acid rain. Acid rain can travel in the atmosphere over great distances and then fall as precipitation. Acid rain can harm plants, fish, and even buildings and statues made of limestone and marble. Here's a demonstration to show the effects of acid rain. You will need 2 glasses, some vinegar, water, and a piece of chalk. Put some water in one glass and some vinegar in the other. Break the chalk in half and put one half in one glass and the other piece in the other glass.
The water is like the atmosphere when it's clean. The vinegar is slightly acidic, so it's trying to simulate the acid that would be in the rain, which comes from burning the coal. When the sulfur in the coal combines with the oxygen in the atmosphere, it makes sulfuric acid.
Now, watch what happens. You should see the chalk dissolving away in the vinegar. Vinegar contains a lot of acid. Chalk contains calcium carbonate, which is found in limestone and marble. So this demonstrates the effects of acid on some common building materials, limestone and marble.
Okay, let's go over these questions. First one, how are fossil fuels formed? Over millions of years from the remains of ancient plants and animals. So we said that these dinosaurs and plants in ancient times died. The material's been there over all these years. It contains energy that originally came from the sun, and part of the food web and part of the food cycle starts with the producers. The producers get their energy from the sun. It's been there, and when we dig it up, that's when we use it. Petroleum is also oil, known as oil or crude oil. It's where we get gasoline, kerosene, motor oil, plastic, which is the best fossil fuel. Natural gas is the least polluting. We have the largest supply of coal, and it's the most polluting. What are some disadvantages of coal? Except for the large supply, there are really no advantages to coal. Coal is radioactive. It contains uranium. Mining destroys the environment. It's dangerous to the miners. They can get black lung. Burning the coal pollutes the air. Sometimes it leads to acid rain. We do have a big supply of it. It is an important source of energy for the United States, but it does come with its disadvantages. Okay, we're going to stop here. And when we come back next time, we're going to start with the renewables.